All right, today we're going to go over what we went over yesterday. Then you're going to finish yesterday's work for those of you who didn't take care of business, and then you're going to get today's done. Both of them need to be finished before you leave my classroom today. All right, so what is interest? Who remembers? It's a fee you pay for borrowing money. It's why it's best to not borrow money if you don't have to. It is a fee you pay to borrow money. What is the formula for simple interest? I equals PRT. The I stands for interest. The P stands for principal. And again, this is not the principal that works at your school. It's the amount that you invest or borrow. It's the starting amount. The R is the rate, but what do you have to do to the rate? They're going to give it to you as a percent, and you have to change it to a decimal. And the T is time, and what does it need to be given in? Years. So if it gives it to you in months, you have to convert it to years. So if I said 12 months, you would say 1 year. If I said 18 months, you would say 1.5 years, 1.5. So if you don't know that, you just divide by 12 because there's 12 months in a year. All right, what does this formula solve for? Does it solve for interest or does it solve for your total? Interest. So if the question asks for the total, what would you do to get it? You would add it back. You would take your answer. You would take the interest, which is your answer, and you would add it back to the total. To the starting amount, to the principal, to get the total. So again, you have to read the question and you have to see, is it asking for interest and then the formula is just going to give me the answer? Or is it asking for total and I'm going to have to take the formula to get the answer and then add it back to get the total? Remember that total means usually to add, right? So you're going to have to add it back. All right, let's do some examples. A student invests $2,500. What is that going to be? Is that the P, the R, or the T? That's the P. At 5% simple interest. This is what? The percent is a R, but what do I have to change it to? A decimal. How do I change a percent to a decimal? Put it over 100. So I have 5 divided by 100, which is 0.05. So I'm going to write that right here. 0.05. If you put the 0 in front, that's perfectly fine too. All right, and the time is 3 years. So now here's the thing. Before I even start, I need to ask myself, what is the question asking for? It says, how much will the formula give me this answer? What does our formula solve for? Interest. Is it asking for interest? So all I'm going to do is the formula. So P times R times T. So I'm going to do 2,500 times 0.05 times 3. So how much interest will the student make at the end of 3 years? $375. So this question is talking about investing your money. So this student had $2,500 just sitting around. They invested it, but they can't touch it. And at the end of 3 years, they made an additional $375. Does that mean that's how much money they have? No, that's how much they made in interest. Do y'all understand the question? Look at the next one. Sarah invests $5,200. What is that going to be? The P. At 3.25% interest, what's this going to be? The R, but what do I have to do to it? Change it to a decimal by putting it over. So I have 3.25 divided by 100. So that's my R, 0.0325. Now, if your calculator did not do that, if it just gave you 0.03, then you're in rounding mode and you won't get the right answer on anything. So you've got to make sure, did everybody's calculator give them this number? All right, how much money will she have in her account at the end of 4 years? So the 4 is the time. Now let's talk about what this question's asking for. Did it ask for how much money she's going to make in interest, or is it asking her total value, like the total amount that's going to be in her account? What is it asking for? The total. So will the formula give me the total? No. I'm going to use the formula, get the answer to the formula, but then I'm going to have to go a step further. Does everybody understand this? So I need to do PRT. That's the formula. So I'm going to do 5,200 times 0.0325 times 4. $676. That is not how much money she has. She can't start with $5,200 and invest it, not touch it, and come back and only have $676. Somebody would have stole money from her. Okay? This is how much money she made in interest. It is not how much money she has total. So what am I going to do to figure out how much she has total in her account? I'm going to add this back to the money she invested, which was $5,200. Because this is the principal, how much she started with. So I have 5,200 plus, she now has $5,876 total in her account. All right, last one. Louise invests $3,600. What is that going to be? The P at 7/2% interest. What do I have to change this to? Do not, listen to me, do not go 7/2 math decimal inner. The only way to get rid of a percent sign is to place it over 100. That's the only way to do it. You have to put it over 100. So 7/2, if y'all look, 7/2 is 3.5. Math decimal, oops, not fraction. 7/2, math decimal inner. That's 3.5. But guys, that number still has a percent sign until you put it over 100. The percent sign does not leave until you put it over 100. So I do 3.5 over 100. And it is 0.035. So not this. I'm going to put it right here. 0.035. That's my R. Do I need to say that again? 7/2 is 3.5. But it still has a percent sign attached to it. Anytime you want to get rid of a percent sign, you have to put it over 100. So you could have just done 7/2 over 100, and it will do it for you. So if y'all want to see that, if I do 7/2 over 100, math decimal inner, it's 0.035. All right, what's the time? All right, let's talk about the question. How much interest will the student earn at the end of 6 years? So am I using the formula, or am I using the formula and then adding? Just the formula. So I equals P times R times T. The P is 3,600. The R is 0.035. And the T is 6. So the answer is $756 in interest that she will make, or Louise, he will make. Do y'all understand the difference of when to use the formula and stop, and when to use the formula and add back to it? Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is finish yesterday's assignment in the Google Classroom. Once you're finished, if I need to check your answers, I will, and then submit. And then you're going to do the assignment for today, which is on paper. So I will be passing that out.